Okay, so let's take a look at these are 5 of the exercises that Tommy said you need to have in your routine. And you know what, Dave? What's interesting? Very easy to understand because it's really old school. But sometimes old school is the best way. We'll talk to Tommy Europe right after this.
The top 5 exercises that I recommend everybody include in their workout plan are the following: squats, burpees, push-ups, the plank, and lunges. The reason those 5 exercises should be part of your everyday workout plan are because they're full body exercises. The squat, everybody thinks about the butt and the legs, but it's really a full body exercise, especially when you're adding a load. You are working your upper body, you are working your core, hamstrings, butt, calves, everything's working, everything works as one. The burpee, it's a full body exercise. You're working your upper body, you're working your lower body. It's a cardio drill. Do 10 of them and you'll see exactly what I mean. The plank is an awesome exercise because it works your overall core. It forces your body to engage. Yes, you're working your core, but then you end up working your shoulders, you end up working your legs as well. Push-ups are an oldie but a goodie. You want to make sure you're doing those correctly. They obviously work your core, they work your upper body. Everybody thinks chest with push-ups. But depending on how you do them, you can really work your triceps extremely hard, work your core extremely hard, and it ends up being a full body workout. Lunges are a great exercise. Everybody thinks lower body, but it's a full body exercise, especially when you add a load. You can have a bar on your back, you can have dumbbells in your hand, you can have a plate on your chest. Your core is going to be engaged, your back's going to be straight, plus you get that entire lower body blast. So your butt, your quads, your hamstrings, your calves, everything gets worked. And if you add a little bit of jump to it, it makes it a plyometric type exercise, which is very exhausting, just like any typical cardio exercise that'll push you to the max.
It is right there. Tommy Europe telling you how to get into shape. And as I said beforehand, those suggestions, those top 5 exercises are old school. They're very simple. You don't need a lot of equipment. You're not going out and buying stuff. You don't have to join a gym. You just have to be diligent with yourself, a little bit of discipline, which apparently in this room seems to be fading. I mean, and so we welcome Tommy Europe in the studio right there.
Welcome, Tom.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Former Blue Bomber number 13.
Yes, sir.
There was before we get to all the fitness stuff, we've had a lot of talk for some reason about all things Winnipeg.
Yeah, weird. Some reason.
How does that happen?
Yeah, some reason. And people said, and people talk about when your number one quarterback goes down. And look, I'm not saying it's been that way forever, but quarterbacks and the ones that win, they just don't grow on trees. It takes time, and especially when you're talking the CFL, where they may have to learn that game. And so Nichols goes down for the Bombers, and I'm sure you still got friends and people that you're close to. That was just a real shame because now it becomes a little bit of a panic, doesn't it?
I wouldn't really say a panic. It all kind of depends on they've got a great running game. If they can have some ball control, they've got all the big boys on defense. So that's definitely going to help them. And I've been on tons of teams where the defense would just carry the weight as long as the offense doesn't mess up and turn the ball over. Good things can still happen.
Well, Bombers. There's been some Bombers teams where the defense was the star of the team.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you're
Many.
looking at one of them. Yeah. Coach Ritchie was a little bit of a defensive specialist, even though he was the head coach of the team at the time.
Defensive heavy, and then his thing was whether we play half the game or the full game. It's up to us to kind of to bring it home, and I think that's what the Bombers are going to have to do, especially early through the season. Probably it's not going to be easy, but again. I can remember playing in Winnipeg, and we're playing Edmonton, and Jason Moss got knocked out, and we're like, yeah, this Ricky Ray guy was coming in. Oh, we got this, guys, we got this. And it was like, oh, damn. And then, that was the entrance of our introduction to Ricky Ray. So
wow.
It can work the other way for you as well, because the teams, if they don't come prepared to play, that your starter isn't there, it can bite you in the butt.
Let me ask you this, because Mike and I were talking about this probably around 10:01-ish, just when we were starting our show and stuff like that. You've always been in awesome shape. Are you in better health right now, retired out of the game, older? I know, obviously, it's a different football shape. It's not football shape, but looking at you, you look like you could start today if the CFL kicked off on a Tuesday.
I'm definitely in better shape now. I think what people don't realize, they see the games. They don't see, and obviously when I was playing, we were hitting every day in practice. There was no I mean, if you got knocked out, you sat out 3 plays and came back
Right,
in.
yeah.
So it's a different time, obviously, but very hard on the body, and you're playing catch up the whole time.
Sure.
And then your off season is kind of getting your body back into getting healthy. But as soon as that season starts, it's a downhill slide. So I think I used to laugh because all the guys on the team would be like, "Just wait, Europe. Just wait till you're done. Those abs are gone." I was like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
When I'm done, I'm not going to be getting beat up. Although I'm a stunt man now, so
I was gonna say.
I still am getting beat up.
Still
but,
a TV star too. It's just
yeah,
a little bit easier.
It's a little bit easier on the body, and just just smarter and just making better decisions, better choices.
Right.
Healthier overall, definitely.
And at some point when you're playing football, sometimes you got to carry a little bit of weight. I
Yep.
mean, you're not looking. I wouldn't say you're not looking in front of the mirror, but as I hear from every single player in all professional football, the guys who take the most heat for looking at themselves in the mirror are defensive backs, and receivers and receivers.
I think receivers. I think.
Oh,
you
you
know,
think-
it's the receivers.
I think you played with a number 85.
I played with a few receivers that like to look good and did the part. But definitely, it's sometimes you do have to carry some extra weight, especially depending on your position, just to kind of withstand the beating that you're going to take throughout the season, throughout each and every game, just to make it through.
Now you have now ventured into that area of fitness that I'll be honest, a lot of football players don't, because there is a. They joked about you losing the abs, but quite honestly, some of these guys when they go, if they're from the southern states,
Yeah.
they're going back to eat. And that food is good. And sometimes they go, why do you put on so much weight? Because they had to sacrifice everything from about the age of 14 to maybe in their 30s.
Yeah, I mean,
And now it's fun time. And a lot of guys, it'd be very difficult to be honest, to maintain what they had.
It's different depending on position.
Yes.
There's offensive linemen that, if you looked at them 10 years later, you would think they were receivers. There's DBs. 10 years later, you'd think they played O-line. So it really depends on the person,
Yeah.
depends on what they have going on, and the injuries that you sustain during. I feel my injuries when I'm inactive, which isn't very often. And obviously, one of the reasons I'm here in Toronto is celebrating Men's Health Week. I'm doing I partnered with the Canadian Men's Health Foundation, and it's just making fellas make better choices, make healthier choices.
What's the biggest offender when you talk about choices? For most men in Canada, what is it?
Well, the 5 they did a recent study, and the 5 areas that they're looking at as far as determining your overall health: diet, exercise, sleep, smoking, and excessive drinking. So
Well, why do they got to put the last one
Well,
on
you
there?
know, it's-
As an Irish person, I'm a wee bit offended about that.
a little bit of everything is good. So we really want to focus on those 5 markers. If you're 5 out of 5, then you're completely healthy. But the studies show that 72% of men are in the unhealthy category. And
Interesting.
that's something has to change.
And people don't talk about, Dave and I talk about it all the time, sleep.
Yes.
Now, we generally were morning guys, so I know that we were sleep. I mean, I did that for over 30 years, and I know I was sleep deprived because I would take a couple hours in the afternoon.
Yep.
And they say it doesn't matter. That's still not going to make up for how many hours you truly need. Because if you think about it, as your body is a vehicle, then it needs gas, it needs rest, it needs all those things. And you're saying we probably don't do it the right way.
Sleep is very important, and the target is 7 to 8 hours of sleep is ideal to give your body that chance to recover and repair and keep you mentally sharp for the next day. I mean, you guys know, and I've been the same way as well. If you don't get a lot of sleep, you're not thinking as clearly. Things go a little bit slower, and you have these little fixes, whether it's caffeine or energy drinks, things like that kind of don't really help on the diet side of things. So yeah, getting enough sleep, 7 to 8 hours is ideal. Exercising minimum 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. It doesn't have to be a crazy, gym workout. It could be body weight stuff. It could be classes. Could be going for a walk, going for a hike. Just getting yourself active. And I think one of the things I take from some of the retired players who played before me, the ones who are very fit, is they never stop moving. And that's the kind of the approach that I take. I'm never going to let myself get out of shape. I'm always going to keep on moving. And then that way there's definitely no limits.
There's a lot of different tips, and I'm just reading some of the information that was sent on for celebrating Men's Health Week. Breakfast like a champion. A lot of people, and I'll admit it, from time to time, when you're taking care of the 2 kids, and you're getting ready for this, you skip breakfast.
Yep.
And that's a big no-no, isn't it?
Huge. I mean, your body's fasting overnight. So if you're sleeping for 5 to 8 hours, you're hungry. You need food.
Sure.
You need fuel to go. And if you don't have it, that's when the bad choices come in, because now you're hungry. You're going to probably start off with some coffee and then grab something fast and quick and usually unhealthy.
Yep.
And then it just sets you in a downward spiral throughout the day. And that's why, really focusing on, I tell people go for 5 to 6 meals per day. So you're eating every 2 to 3 hours, keeping that metabolism running as quickly as possible, and really upping your veggies and fruits.
Okay, give me a suggestion then. I
breakfast?
have okay, in between doing this and getting ready, everything like that, I probably got a good 10 to 15 minutes tops. I don't have time for, and I'm not going to have a big lumberjack breakfast, because that isn't good either.
No.
But give me something that I could put together in 5 to 7 minutes, maybe
like
less.
oatmeal?
I don't mind oatmeal.
So I do steel cut oats. And
That's
what-
very popular, isn't it? The steel cut
Yep.
oats.
And what I'll do, I'll put them, soak them overnight.
Yeah.
So that the next morning,
Yeah.
as soon as I boil them, it doesn't take you 20 minutes. It takes like 5.
Oh, so soak them in water overnight.
Soak them in water overnight.
Okay.
And then cook them. Keep them in the same water, because it releases all the minerals.
Do you leave it? Okay, say you put it in a, I'm getting
Yep.
to the bottom of this,
Yep.
because I know people are listening to
Yeah.
this for
You know
sure.
who does that? Jordan and Linda both do what he just
So
said.
great. Do you put it in
Yeah.
the fridge? Or
No,
you just
no.
leave it
I
out?
leave it out on the stove, and then I cook it the next
And you
next
just
morning.
go click, on
Yep.
it goes.
And I'll put a Udo's Choice Ultimate Oil Blend. It's omega-3, 6, and 9.
Yeah.
Get the healthy fats in
Yeah,
there.
I do have that. The
And
fish
if
oils.
you don't like the complete taste of oatmeal and things like that, then you can add some fruits. I'll add a scoop of whey protein powder as well, just to make it a complete meal. So
Right.
you have your protein, you have your carbs, you have your fats.
That's interesting. I never thought about putting
Yep.
Is yours flavored the way?
Nope.
Protein? No.
Just plain, just vanilla.
Just plain.
Yeah.
Because it's it's interesting. My cousin out in Victoria, who owns a couple of the Popeyes.
Yep.
Chris Kinnear, and when he played lacrosse, he was no fear Kinnear. So what are you fighting for? What's going on in your life? Stop it. So I said, so here I am. I'm 54. I said I'm going to start doing these things. I would like to start doing stuff from a supplement standpoint. He said, what is the most important? He said the fish oil.
Yep.
The fish oil is really important.
Well, if you like
Liquid.
Udo's Choice, so Udo Erasmus, if you Google him, you'll see tons of stuff on him. His product, and I'm not sponsored by them, so
Right.
there's nothing like that. I've been using it for many, many years.
Yeah.
Well, you got to,
Oh, absolutely, no.
And so it's omega-3, 6, and 9, and it's actually better than regular fish oils. Your body metabolizes it a lot better and uses the fuel. And you're hearing a lot of the stuff like ketone diets and being in ketosis, and that really means adding more healthy fats to your diet.
Now, a lot of the diet supplements, a lot of even the supplement industry as a whole, and you see a lot of stuff on television. It's for a lot of people who maybe have never had good workout routines. Maybe they weren't athletic. Maybe the gym or just doing physical activity wasn't their thing. So we're a society that wants everything out of a bottle.
Easy. We want it
Yeah.
easy and
Yes.
want it fast, and
Yes.
everyone's looking for that magic pill and not doing the work. You got to do the work.
Yeah.
You got to move around. You got to be active. It's going to help you. It's an investment in yourself, and that's how I kind of tell it to people. Everything that you do, you're the sole beneficiary of it, and it's never too late until it's too late. And a lot of men, and it's from the studies, a lot of men. The reason we're trying to get this prevention out there for Men's Health Week, do that rather than God forbid, get some disease, or you get really sick and then you're like, oh, I wish I would have. Well, don't wish. Just start moving now. And if you go to don'tchangemuch.ca, it's got
Yes.
a lot of tools, a lot of tips for guys and women too, just to lead happy, healthier lives.
Yeah, and in that there's a section that probably fits a lot of the audience today: half fries, half salad.
Yep.
Where a lot of people will go out for that lunch. Fries it is. It's like, but if you take those little steps,
Yeah.
as you mentioned,
Yep.
fries are delicious. I'm going to eat fries forever, but make sure you include some of the greens too. Is
Yeah,
probably what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's just making better choices. And I'm an 80-20 guy, so I'm eating the right things and doing the right things 80% of the time.
Right.
That way, I'll eat fries, I'll eat poutine, I'll eat gummy bears, I'll eat some of these things that aren't the healthiest for me, but they're a very small percentage of my overall diet, so I'm not concerned about it.
Well, it's like a lot of people, at a certain age, have a philosophy that is, if you're going to enjoy some of those things, or wine, or
Yeah, enjoy them.
or delicious cocktails. then you're gonna have to burn it somewhere.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
so if it's walking or getting on a bike or if you're able to go to a gym, but it's interesting because you get to a certain point where if you were in the gym
Yep.
and you get a little older, like you're going back in there, you're cracking your neck, you're like, how you doing? You got Under Armour stuff on there, and you haven't lifted weight in like 20 years.
Exactly.
And that is dangerous because you might even remember what you did, and you don't do that now.
One of the downfalls for men, especially men who played sports or were athletic, if they've been out of it for decades, they come back and they try to compare themselves to what they used to be and how strong they used to be, and that's and it's the ego.
Said every guy and has every guy ever.
You mean
Yeah.
when I was in high
Let's do-
school? I
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
Damn it, Tom.
And but it's you got to forget about where you were. This is where you are right now,
Yeah.
and just work on getting better each and every day. That way, it takes the immediacy out of it. And I think for a lot of people, especially if they haven't worked out before, they figure, oh well, I worked out 3 days this week. Okay, it's a lifelong thing.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
it's not a quick fix. It's a lifelong thing, and that's what people have to have.
Not a word of a lie. A couple of weeks ago, I started summer hockey. I haven't played ice hockey, like on the ice, in a couple of years. Put on the skates, went out there, and I was talking to a buddy, and I was like, man, I'm crap. I used to play junior. I used to be proud of myself. And then all of a sudden it's like, whew, but you're right. It's like, I can't sit there, and that's what I'm trying to deal with. I can't sit there and say,
It's a mental game, and it's
this version of
torture.
me isn't that version of me. And it's like, you sit there and you go, no, really, I used to be good.
See,
I did.
And
Honestly.
if I was sitting beside you, I'd be like, I used to be 12.
Yeah,
But I'm not 12 anymore. You don't want to be the youth. Anytime I'm talking to somebody and it comes like, I used to, I walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Honestly, I've cut that.
But that is a real guy trait. I mean, as a lot of people who follow the show and watched it and even on TSN 1050, I guess 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with rectal cancer. And so you go through that, you come out on the other side, God bless, cancer-free, everything worked out great, and currently have an ostomy bag. So I wanted to get back and do some stuff, and it becomes a little more difficult simply because of this thing. So, there's my wife who they look at, my son, diligent working out. He said, just don't go too hard. I mean, don't do that. So of course I go in, hey guys, how's it going? I'm gonna do a chest today. Work on the traps or whatever. Hey, high five. Oh my God! And so you're in there, and you can just feel everything not going to say, I won't do it today. I don't want to kill myself. I get too pumped up and too big. Stupid.
And
Like,
I
it's
mean,
just so bad.
I have this conversation as well because I do. I mean, I still lift heavy weights, but I do body weight stuff. I do a lot of core training. I do MMA, so I do a wide variety of things just to keep myself active, and so I don't overuse.
Now, when you say MMA, what does that mean?
So
When you say
mixed
MMA?
martial arts. So
No, but are you saying a training style, or you actually participate?
participate, yeah. So a place in Vancouver called Gibson's MMA, and Lance Gibson, he fought in the UFC
Yep.
in the early days of that, and so I trained with him. Julia Budd is his wife, and she's the Bellator champion.
Right.
His son is a champion as well. So it's awesome fitness. Obviously, I like keep myself ready to go just in case. I've got 2 daughters who are 7 and 8 now, so
7 and 8. Yeah.
I got 10. I figure in 6 or 7 years, and the boys come over, I'd be like, hey,
I know.
remember me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do I have to say anything?
I
Just
got,
do the
two,
eye
I got
contact.
2 girls too. Tommy.
Yeah. But what? Then the guy's gonna go, right? I used to. Okay. Yeah.
I used to be 12.
Yeah, I heard that.
I've got a gym in my house, so my tactic right now is take them down. Hey, let's go for a workout.
Yeah.
And get them down there, and let them know what's
The
happening.
Europe dungeon, eh?
Exactly.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Drinking water.
Yes.
So many people do not take this serious enough that you have to get X amount. What is the number of cups of water? Because you hear it should be this. No, that's too much. It should be this. That's not enough.
I'm going to give you the easiest way to
Fire away.
know your water consumption. Take your body weight in pounds, divide it in half. That's how many ounces of water you need to drink. So I'm just around 200 pounds, 205. So say roughly 100 ounces of water
Yeah.
per day. When you're exercising, that's going to go up a little bit because obviously you're perspiring and you're losing some of that water. Dehydration will make you feel hungry.
Yes.
It'll make you feel tired. It'll make you feel lethargic. So it's definitely something that you want to avoid. It lubricates your muscles, helps you move better, helps you think better. And overall, it's free for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're in Vancouver and you can actually drink out of the tap.
Yeah, people in Flint.
true.
If you're in Flint, don't try it.
Don't do this. Don't do this if you're in Flint.
No, you can grow a third arm. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the easiest way to know how much water you should be drinking. And then, just stay away from, as many sugary drinks as possible. You hear all the things about the energy drinks and how much sugar and the caffeine.
Okay, so talk about that, because that's an industry completely unto itself, which just went crazy. And then you see Monster this and blah, blah, blah. Is there any reason legitimately that you can take any of those things, including Red Bull?
And when I say this, I've used a lot of them over the years.
Yes.
And then just as you get more education on it, if you actually read the ingredient label and see how much sugar and how much crap you're actually putting into your system, and there's people I know who they'll drink 2 or 3 of those each and every day.
Sure.
It's an energy rush, but then it comes with a crash. Anytime you're having caffeine and too much caffeine, you have a little bit of an up period, but then you crash afterwards. So trying to stay away from those as much as possible. Replace it with water. Stay away from the pops, whether they're diet Coke, zero calorie, all the stuff they're coming out with. It's just, I call it smoke and mirrors.
Sure,
And-
tricks.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't drink pop,
Not
really.
really.
No, I'm not a
really.
pop drinker.
I'm more of a water guy. I've never had coffee in my life.
Really?
Yeah, never. I know my wife and her family thinks I'm pretty weird.
That
Yeah.
is weird.
It is
I
weird.
need my coffee. I
Yeah.
need my
Yeah,
coffee.
And this is coming from a morning show guy
Yeah.
that So we're getting some listener email from our live YouTube string. They have a question for you, Tommy.
Okay.
When should a person stop eating at night? Because a lot of times you'll run across a situation where it's late night eaters. So
Yep.
when is the time to stop eating prior to whatever designated time you actually go to sleep? When's the drop dead period?
Ideally, you're looking at somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock for most people. And it really depends how late you're going to be up, how much you're going to be moving. And the reason don't want to eat late is because that's normally when you're inactive. So
Yes.
whatever you eat, you eat late night snacking, or you go drinking with the boys.
That's I think
and
that's what we're
have some
getting at.
poutine and have some wings or Chinese food or whatever your pleasure is. That's not going anywhere because you're not moving at all. It's just kind of sitting on you. So it's those empty calories that kind of add on to you. So if you do have late night cravings or things like that, have something lighter, whether it's a salad or something that's going to be readily digested and not just going to be sitting in you. Because obviously we all know what that feeling is like that next day. And if you're sleeping with anybody, your partner probably knows what it's like to smell in that bed. Because those gases are coming out one way or another.
Yes, they are.
Very true.
When you talked about those top 5 exercises, couldn't help but notice that they're really old school, and there must be a reason for it because they work. So a lot of people think I need to join a gym, I need to buy one of those DVDs, I need to do a lot of this stuff. Where you're saying, push-ups, sit-ups, calisthenics, burpees, those kinds of things. They're significant.
They're very significant, and people, they don't give them as much credit as they deserve. They think they need all these elaborate pieces of equipment. Like the more stuff you have, the more things you can do, definitely. But it's definitely not a limitation saying that if you can't get to a gym that you can't do anything. Sometimes go to a playground, do pull-ups. There's lots of different things you can do. You can run on a track, run in a field. Push-ups, you can climb things, climb ropes, climb trees, climb ladders, squat lunges, stairs.
Pull-ups. If people are going, yeah, so what's that do? Dude, try some right now. I dare you to
Seriously,
go up
yeah,
and
you're
see
right.
how many you can do if you haven't exercised. If you can do one, it's a miracle.
At some point you're gonna have to lift your body up.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with a colleague, and I said, who hates doing upper body exercises. She's standing outside the window, and I don't think she can hear me right now, so that's okay. And I said, at some point you're gonna have to either lift you or your boyfriend up. And she's like, I'm just gonna tell him we ain't gonna make it.
So the name of the website, don'tchangemuch.ca. It's with Canadian Men's Health Foundation.
Yes.
There's a section of it that's kind of interesting, in particular to me, because I've said this before and I want verification. Okay, bananas, is that Is that almost like the original protein bar that first started the craze of and then people started saying, let's see how we can improve it. Bananas is almost like the go-to, cheaper way of doing it, maybe the healthier way at some stages of it. Do you recommend bananas
It's potassium in that mostly.
as that energy replacement?
Bananas are just one of many.
Yeah.
And there's times that, people like work out in the morning and they don't eat anything. And I said, if you're in a pinch and you want to have an energy burst,
Yes.
have a banana or have a scoop of peanut butter and half a glass of orange juice because it's got the sugars in it. But you're going to be burning those off immediately because that's what's going to give you energy to get going and do those morning workouts.
I've seen people with over the years apple and cheese.
Yep.
So they're achieving what the protein is the cheese.
Yeah. So basically, when you're eating, you want to think of having a protein source, a carb source, and a fat source to have a complete meal. So the apples and the cheese, obviously, by adding protein to your meals, it stays in you a little bit longer, so you have more staying power, as opposed to just having a carb, and if it's a fruit, it's going to get out of your system very quickly. Add as many vegetables as you can. Leafy green vegetables are ideal. And just add those to your overall meal and your overall routine, and you will definitely see benefits to it. And with obviously the exercise on top of that. And when I train people worldwide, especially a lot of online training, and everyone who wants info on that is Tommy Europe Fitness. So tefitness.com. You can find some information there. And just I like giving people just simple tips that they can do anywhere, anytime. And depending on what somebody has as far as access to equipment or whatever part of the world they live in, I'll put exercises and programs based on those parameters.
Getting another question via
Yes.
Twitter. Let's see. I just had it here. Sorry, guys. That's it. Post-workout routine. What do you do to fuel up after a hard workout, even if it's something like 15, 20 minutes of cardio, 15, 20 minutes of weights, whatever it works out? How do you refuel yourself properly after a workout?
Ideally, this is where some supplements will come into effect to work a lot more efficiently for you. So BCAAs, or branched chain amino acids, will replace the minerals that you lose through exercise, through sweat, and they'll help replenish you again. Other than that, yes, there's some people have protein shakes afterwards.
Shakes are great. I like
shakes.
the
Are great
shakes.
after.
Easy to do, right?
Easy to do. Just so and it's a liquid, so it's going to be absorbed to your body immediately. Ideally, you want to have something within the first 30 minutes after you finish working out. And by having a good protein source, it's going to help your muscles start that repair as early as possible.
What about in those shakes where they say, do you want a little, like you can put creatine or what? Any of that stuff? Does any of that, depending on your level of fitness and what you're going for, does it make sense?
It definitely does make sense. I mean, when I'm lifting heavy, I use creatine, I use branched chain amino acids, because for me it helps me recover. One of the other supplements I use is Sierrasil, which I am sponsored by, and it's a bone and joint supplement, which works amazing. And
Apparently in 14 days.
within 14 days it'll be in your system. Yep.
Okay.
And I've been taking it before I was sponsored by them as well, for probably the last 8 years. And for me, it's from coming off of football, anytime for pain, it's like, take this pill, take that pill, and obviously we have the opioid epidemic that's going crazy right now. So just, I want to I want to treat my body right. I want to treat my body a lot better than I had in the past, and really relying less on, drugs and opioids, whether they're Tylenols or anything like that for pain and for recovery, and just try to use more natural sources, foods and things like that.
What about guys who may be consistent gym guys? They always have been, and sometimes you'll find a pre-gym sort of, and they always have names like Crank or Extreme Fuel.
The pre-workout
Yes,
formulas?
yes.
I use them sparingly. I use them when I need them. So if I'm literally tired, I'm like, I might use it.
Yeah.
There's guys that use it every day, women that use it every day as well. I wouldn't recommend it. Once you start using them, just like anything else, you're going to need more and more. And it comes to a point where I know people that they're so used to using these pre-workout formulas to train that if they do not have it, they can't work out. And that's not a situation that you want to find yourself in. So read the ingredients. I mean, they're all different. PVL has a really good pre-workout formula. But again, it's not something that I would rely on.
Cool. We know you got to get running. Thank you again.
Oh, I do have to show him something before we go, though,
Okay.
Dave.
Okay. Let's get a West Division, East Division Grey Cup final. Who do you like quickly? Because I know you got other commitments, and we do appreciate you coming here.
No
today.
problem.
It's
No
been
problem
on.
at all.
We're gonna have to have you on again, maybe even by phone too.
Yeah,
'cause
definitely.
We can catch you in Vancouver.
Yep.
And BC Sports Hall of Fame, by the way.
Oh,
I know.
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a matter of time until you're part of that Bomber Hall of Fame, because Robert Gordon, your old buddy, he's being inducted.
Is he
this
being
year.
inducted?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's being inducted, and I'm thinking, if Gordon's in there, Tommy Europe's going to be in there.
Oh, trust me, Tommy's upset about this. He's livid about this. He's just not saying it.
I didn't mean to leave him on this
No,
note.
but you know what? Things like that. I mean, it's truly an honor. Like I'm in the BC Sports Hall of Fame, and at Bishop's University, I'm on their Wall of Distinction, and they're all amazing honors. And if you get them, you get them. If you don't get, it's not something you're waiting for, like trying to get in the Hall of Fame. But it's just recognition, and if it happens, it happens. It's, I don't hold anything against it. But as far as the contenders for the Grey Cup this year, I
West
think
is pretty
the
good,
West
man.
the West is pretty loaded.
Five
so,
good teams.
So, but I'm going with BC and Winnipeg.
Okay.
And all depending on the quarterback situation, obviously in Winnipeg, BC's got 2 or 3 good quarterbacks.
Yes, I know. Bring some over.
And much better than people give him credit for, to be honest. At the
Way
beginning of the year,
better.
nobody gave them
Yep.
any credit.
Yeah. So I think those 2 are the front runners, definitely. Edmonton, they've had a lot of changes. Saskatchewan should be pretty good as well. You never know how Chris Jones is going to motivate his guys.
And cut a whole bunch of receivers the other day, some big ones too.
Oh yeah, so it has people like, nobody's safe.
No.
In the East, again, they're pretty much tight right across the board. But anytime you have somebody like Ricky Ray, if he's on top of his game, it's hard to bet against the Argos. Hamilton, they'll be obviously strong contenders. I think Montreal's still going to struggle because they don't have a legitimate starter.
That's right.
We'll see how that kind of plays out. And plus, they did a lot of restructuring on their defense as well. So we'll see how it plays out for them. And Ottawa, again, they're a team that could be really good or really bad. Depends on which team shows up on the day. It seems they weren't as consistent. So I would say definitely Toronto. Toronto would be my front runner again, unless something happens to Ricky Ray.
Well, I quickly tried to get one of your highlights, and unfortunately, the only one I could find this morning was courtesy of someone playing Madden 10 on EA Sports. So I want you to take a look at this. It's you're playing the Alouettes here, so let's go to it now. There's Calvillo. Calvillo is looking. He's going to throw over the middle, and oh boy, there he is. There's Europe. He's at midfield. He's going to go.
Am I going
He's
backwards? Am I turning
no,
backwards?
he's going to the 30. He's the 20. He is gone. It is a touchdown, Bombers.
I like it.
What did you see on that? What did you see on that play? What tipped you off that it was going your way?
AC's one
Well,
of the best.
AC is one of the best, and AC's not going. I know he's not going to hold the ball long at all because he does not want to get hit. He was a thrower and a ducker at the same time. So if you get people in his face, he's getting the ball away quickly, and probably looking for Cahoon.
Exactly.
That's great. Up to you, Dave.
Yeah.
Let's go back up to you, Dave. Look, thank you so much for coming in. It's always a
Thank you.
pleasure. Great stuff too.
Likewise.
Such a good guy.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yep.